A year since Hasinas' departure, what really happened in Bangladesh on August 5, 2024? It has now been exactly 1 year since the political landscape in Bangladesh underwent a seismic shift. On August 5, 2024, then Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina abruptly left the country, and Dr. Mohammad Yunus was appointed as the head of a caretaker government. The nation has remained in political turmoil since. But what really happened that morning? Was it all part of a larger conspiracy? In an exclusive conversation with NEWS18 from an undisclosed location, former state minister in Hasina's cabinet, Mahibul Hassan Chowdhury, made startling claims. Nanan sources within the Awami League and close to government circles told NEWS18 that Hasina had a very different plan for that day. She was reportedly scheduled to meet the President of Bangladesh to declare a state of emergency to bring the deteriorating law and order situation under control. Everything had been prepared, and the President's office was informed. However, Hasina never arrived at Bangabhaban. On the night of August 4, Sheikh Hasina held a clause-or meeting with senior Awami League leaders. According to insiders, the plan to impose emergency rule was discussed and even given the green light. The move was meant to allow the government to act decisively against violent protests, which had erupted following a student uprising over the reinstatement of a controversial quota system in public sector jobs. This was an internal institutional conspiracy, supported by external forces. The plan to impose emergency was intentionally derailed. The army chief came under immense pressure and could not act in line with the Prime Minister's directives. In fact, he conveyed to her that nothing could be done. Left with no other option, she had to leave the country. He also added that when he left his residence for the Prime Minister's official residence that morning, the streets were eerily calm. There was no visible mob. The unrest was manufactured, he claimed. Nanan, what raises further suspicion is that around 10 p.m. on August 4, Hasina was supposed to meet the president. The pressing question within political circles is, why was she stopped? A section within the Awami League believes it was sabotage. According to sources, instructions were allegedly issued to prevent party workers from gathering in Dhaka. No force was mobilized to counter the growing agitation. Curiously, there were no major casualties on August 3 or 4, further fueling the belief that the situation could have been managed with a timely emergency declaration. There was also discussion about imposing a lockdown and later forming an all-party government under the emergency framework, said one party insider. Some Awami League leaders argue that if their supporters had been allowed to hit the streets on August 5, the outcome could have been very different. One senior leader told NEWS18, "This was absolutely a conspiracy by those who wanted Hasina out. If emergency had been imposed, the situation would have stabilized. But from August 1 onwards, we were systematically prevented from handling this politically. It was 100% sabotage." Sources say Hasina spent her last night in the country in meetings with the heads of the armed forces. Reportedly, she received assurances that the situation was under control. But by the next morning, everything had changed. Swipe left for next video. Sheikh Hasina ultimately resigned and left Bangladesh via helicopter under growing pressure from both mass demonstrations and the military. The protests sparked by the Supreme Court's decision to reinstate quotas in public sector jobs had escalated dramatically, with students leading the charge. The government's crackdown only inflamed the situation. Today, with elections due next year and the Awami League still unlikely to participate, August 5 remains a dark and painful memory for its supporters. Latest blogs.